The language of symbols. Why? Why do they have this symbolic language?
But the force, shall we say, that these rituals are interacting with, particularly, like I say, the major ones, is actually the force that's manipulating human society. So one thing I've seen clearly over these nearly 30 years is absolutely nothing is happening in isolation. Everything is a dot within a picture. Everything is a pixel within a picture, a strand within a web. And satanic ritual and satanic ritual abuse is a major dot, a major strand in this web. In fact, more than a strand, it infests basically the entire web of deceit within human society. Because ultimately, these major Satanists, and of course Satanism and pedophilia, they're basically masks on the same face. That's why I find so many politicians, and rich and famous, are both Satanists and pedophiles. The two go together. It's a major strand in the web, and infests the entire web, because the entities that are being interacted with in these rituals are the entities that control the web, that ultimately control the banking system, that ultimately control the creation of wars, the creation of economic crashes that devastate the human population, and all these horrors that happen in the world. This is the origin of it.
When you go along this journey of research, if you go along it with a preconceived idea, with a religious belief, a political belief, a scientific belief, well, forget it, because unless you're prepared to let them go in the light of the information, then you're never going to get into the rabbit hole more than a very short distance.
The last thing that they want to come out is this. Pedophilia is bad enough for them because of what it says about the mentality that we're dealing with.
And here is a wonderful example of it, Archon education. If only it was. Control perception and you control reality, and you can get them as young as you can and plant their reality from the earliest possible age. Here we are, buses waiting to take inmates to the programming centres, because that is basically what they are. And teachers overwhelmingly have no idea that that's what they are. They're pawns in the game as well. They are passing on the curriculum and teaching in ways that they are told to teach, which is programming a perception of reality by emphasizing that and ignoring or suppressing alternatives to it. Einstein said brilliantly, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it is stupid. What schools, what education should be in a natural order world is not how do we get children to be what we want them to be, but how do we get the best and the potential out of every child in their unique sense and unique self. That's what education should be. But like I say, we live in an inversion, and so we get the opposite of that. What we get is this. Have you noticed how they say, these politicians, about education, we must prepare children for the workplace. In other words, we must prepare unique expressions of all that is, has been, and ever can be to be a cog in a fricking machine for the rest of their bloody life. The system should fit us. We should not fit the system. So, J.D. Rockefeller, creator of the General Education Board in 1903, he said, I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers. Exactly. It's what the education system's about. It's a sausage machine programming system.
So really, do you believe the Bible? Oh, I believe the Bible. I said, well, do you think the snake in the Garden of Eden, the serpent in the Garden of Eden, was literally a snake talking to Adam and Eve? Do you actually believe that was exactly what it is? Or do you think it might be symbolic for something else?
Now this is why Satanists worship the goat.
What the hell is that? Holy fuck! Oh my god! Oh my god! Jesus fucking Christ!
Is the goal to create a one world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers, and they're doing it in sections. The European currency, the euro, and the European Constitution is one part of it. Now they're trying to do it in America with the North American Union, right? And they want to create a new currency called the Amero, right? And the whole agenda is to create a one world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is given me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip. And you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. It's total control of the people.
And that chip's connected to a database that has your purchasing records, what you do, what
everything.
you sell.
Everything is in there, you know? And so they want a one world government controlled by them, everybody being chipped, all your money in those chips, and they control the chips, and they control people, and you become a slave, you become a serf to these people. That's their goal, that's their intentions.
Eric.
It's pulling.
I sat in my front room and I watched a newsreader tell me on the BBC without laughing, just a few days after 9/11, that they found a passport from one of the hijackers.
We're not little me, we're not Joe Public, we're not I've got no power. That's what this control system wants us to believe so that we do not express the power that we have.
What the hell is that?
Holy fuck!
Oh my god! Oh my god! Jesus fucking Christ!
Now, the Fabian Society was actually named after a Roman general called Fabius, and his claim to fame was never having battles with the enemy that could prove decisive either way. His method of taking over was to weaken and weaken and weaken the enemy over a period of time, and then when they were so weak to resist, then move in. That is precisely what the system is doing. It's making us weaker and weaker, well, people that go with it at the moment, weaker and weaker by the food we eat, the water we drink, by the electromagnetic fields that we come into, by economic suppression and manipulation. All these things are being done to weaken and weaken and weaken the target population, Fabius style, so eventually they think they can just walk in when we're too weak to resist. That's the bloody idea.